Don't touch my.
Alrighty, welcome to the first ever episode of Whoscussion. I'm ThatRandomguy from Whānau, and joining us today, joining the Whānau group here, is Harriotskelli. Say hello to everybody there on the lovely YouTube there, my good sir.
Oh, hello. Hello.
So how Whoscussion works is we've got ourselves an hour of just randomly riffing about Doctor Who. There's no actual point or purpose. It's just a discussion about shivers that happens in the show. So the first thing I want to bring to light is Eric Saward's run in Doctor Who, especially the story Time Flight.
Oh, no.
Now, I've only recently found out that the Master was actually Anthony Ainley in that story. Why in the shit was he a fat Asian guy? Now, we don't know, but
really don't know.
Harriotskelli, I remember you having quite a theory on what that was. What was that theory again?
Well, I honestly think that these good old BBC writers decided halfway through the story that they were going to actually make it the Master. They were writing the first two episodes, and they were like, well, this is good. We've got a nice villain from whenever he was from, came back in time to way before humanity, Ice Age era. And he was trying to take control of those psychokinetic powers with his own psychokinetic powers, of course. And then the writers were like, well, scrap that, it's Master. Woo, Master!
I think that theory holds a lot of water, even though we've got no evidence to back that up. I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Considering there is literally no other reason.
It's just so weird. Like, and you can see in Peter Davidson's face that he's just given up act, just like
their whole season, their whole story, he just gave up. Yeah, he really did.
he was just like, I just read my script this morning. Yeah, Peter. Yeah. And Jonathan, I was just wondering, is the Master going to be a fat Asian guy in this? Yeah. Actually, he is.
He is. Also, I've read in the script here that it also says that he's actually not Asian and is. Hold on, is he? What? It's the Master? Are you serious right now? Yeah. He totally is.
Yeah, Jonathan Nathan Turner's run of Doctor Who is just like, a lot of people give it quite a bit of flack because just random shit happened. And Time Flight, I can see why a lot of people were giving Jonathan Nathan Turner some shit for that, because what even happened in that? Like, it's so weird. I think you raised a good point the other day when you're saying that they just made Tegan just super Australian in that story.
Oh yeah, she was so Australian. Oh man. She just like the first comment that she makes when they start off is they're at Heathrow Airport and she sees the planes and she's like, oh crikey, and it's like, what, you didn't just say that.
I'm half expecting.
I'm sure that's what she said. Yeah,
crikey.
She's like, oh, I went on a plane once in Melbourne. It's like, we know you're Australian by now, Tegan. You don't need to say that you've been to Melbourne before.
Also, she's a trained air stewardess. Why does she say she's been on a plane before?
Of course she's been on a plane.
Like, the first time she's introduced as a character is in Legopolis, which is so random. It's Tom Baker's last story, and they introduce a companion. Like, what? And then,
fair enough.
And then her auntie gets killed by the Master, just randomly, and then she ends up traveling with the Fourth Doctor. And she's on her way to Heathrow Airport. That's why in Time Flight she gets dropped off. So why she's like, I've been on a plane before. Of course you have, because how else were you in London? You can just teleport from Australia to London. You can't do that. It could be like Ace and Dragonfire, where she's like, I'm on this alien planet because of a time storm.
Time storm.
Right, okay.
Listen. Nice.
Now, one thing I've been interested in is just I've been going over a lot of Pertwee lately, and I'm just like, why hasn't the Doctor gone back to kicking ass? Especially since like these days he's Peter Capaldi, who in like Series 8, Series 8, um, he was like, being this real ruthless guy, and then like Robots of Sherwood, he turns into like a toffee idiot.
Yeah. They seem to be pulling the same sort of shit that they're doing with Clara, with the 12th Doctor, is that they don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
They've sort of just decided on a bunch of different characters, and they were just like, okay, we'll just mop between them. Like, sure, the Doctor's done that before. Yes, the Doctor's done that before because he changes his face.
Yeah. Not, just on the
not episode to episode.
Oh man, that was Series 8 was weird. It was a train wreck, man. I feel like the only episodes that were actually properly written by the production team were the last two.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that's how it went. So the production team wrote the last one, and then told another team of people, write in some filler between the start and the end, and make it good. And they failed that last part.
They failed that last part. The instructions, make it good, just done, finished. Just on the subject of Clara, in Deep Breath, right?
Yeah.
Clara freaks out that he's regenerated. That makes absolutely no sense, as Clara's met every Doctor ever.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Clara really doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, she
really doesn't.
Yeah, poorly written. And I'm on the subject of Name of the Doctor. That Gallifreyan mechanic that has Clara's face. Do you think, was she maybe a Shibogan, therefore can't regenerate, or was she actually an incarnation of a mechanic time lady?
I would say so. I would say that there's the latter.
Okay.
That there is a particular time lady that was more in tune with the time stream, at least more in tune with the Doctor's time stream to be forced Clara, basically.
Yeah.
To have that entire personality forced into one of her generations.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think War Games kind of backs up your theory on that, because in War Games the Time Lords give the Doctor like a list of people he could be, like as a pick and mix.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. There would have been like a chick who just like picked up Clara as one of her regens, because Time Ladies can choose what they look like, because Romana and Melody.
All of them are different.
Yeah, especially Melody, because she goes to Rory. She's like, "Shut up, Dad! I'm picking a dress size."
Yeah.
And it's just real interesting that like Time Ladies have this like sort of otherworldly control, and can become oracles as well. They can actually see through time, because in the End of Time, there was
then that's definitely it. Then, is that Clara must have been like her peering through time during a regeneration, and then having Clara just thrust upon her, and suddenly she's Clara for that regeneration.
Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense, because for like the longest time I was just like, oh, she's probably a Shibogan that was born to look like Clara, but actually putting that in, because that makes a lot more sense, because I believe Shibogans aren't actually allowed in the Panopticon.
Yeah, because they which no Time Lord's gonna let that be a mechanic for a TARDIS. Yeah, straight up be like, no, get out of here.
No, right? Are you time sensitive? No, I'm a Shibogan. Like, Shibogans cracked me up, man. And I was just with Shibogans, I find it funny in Day of the Doctor that like John Hurt and so the War Doctor 11 and 10, they're all having a big huge wham about like kids being dead, and not a single one of those children are from the other races of Gallifrey.
No.
Well, I used to get drunk with Shibogans during the Time War.
I'm pretty sure that they weren't on Gallifrey during the Time War. I would say that is the case.
You reckon
they all got moved?
You reckon John Hurt took them off?
Yeah, actually. I would say that it's very likely.
Oh, actually, come think of it.
Or even the 8th Doctor.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, because in Night of the Doctor, he's all like, "I'm just helping out where I can. I'm not involved in the war."
Yeah, like he went took away all of the ones that were going to get caught in the crossfire and put them somewhere else. Because he was being a bit of a pussy about it.
Yeah, yeah, he was actually. It's quite interesting. I've come to terms with the War Doctor existing. I've come to terms with that because it's played by Sir John Hurt. Like if you're gonna make up a random Doctor, you gotta make it Sir John Hurt. Like you have to.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I was thinking it's either Sir John Hurt or Derek Jacobi, and it can't be Derek Jacobi because he's one of the Masters. Though
Well, that would be amusing.
that would be pretty amazing.
If the Doctor and the Master had a similar
incarnation. Yeah, that'd be funny as. Yeah, just it's interesting because if you look at the comic The Forgotten, which I know the comics are non-canon, even though Epsilon Dark appears in an episode of Series 8, but I just think it's real interesting that in the comics they make it quite clear in The Forgotten that 8's gonna fight the war because he's making the DMAC gun. Which is, I suppose, what the moment was originally going to be before it got retconned. And also, Russell was, Russell made it. It was the 8th Doctor. Russell T Davies was like, the 8th Doctor's the one who fought the war. And in the comic book, The Flood, it was originally meant to end with 8 regenerating into Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
So, there we go. But that all got changed. I think, I've been reading up, apparently BBC were the ones who stopped that. Even though BBC were the ones that let them do it in the first place. They're like, hey, you're allowed to do this. And then they were like, hey, you're actually not allowed to do this.
Okay.
What?
Good work, BBC.
Yeah. Now that thanks to Big Finish and, the television series, the 8th Doctor novels are non-canon now, the EDAs with Sammy Jones and all that. What's real interesting is there's actually a time war in those novels.
Yeah.
And then there isn't. I like the outcome in the 8th Doctor novels and Gallifrey Chronicles because the 8th Doctor actually downloads Gallifrey into his mind, and that's why it goes missing from time. And then and now it's
honestly, I was absolutely alright with the idea of Gallifrey actually being gone, like completely destroyed.
Yeah.
The fact that he's able to bring them back shouldn't be how it is, really. It shouldn't be a plot hole of the time war, effectively. It should have been, I've actually broken time and brought them back. Everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Because especially during Tennant's last little bit, he was just becoming more and more like a god.
Yeah. That it should have been that one of his latest regeneration, 12, should have been such on the whole new level that he was just like, I'm going to break time and I don't care. What
I thought was interesting.
The Daleks keep doing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Right. The Daleks and what's it called? Remembrance of the Daleks. Davros blows up Skaro.
Yeah.
And then the very first episode for McGann's Doctor, which is the last story for Sylvester's Doctor. My friend the Master stood trial on Skaro. Wait, what? What?
Didn't I destroy that?
But I haven't listened to it yet. But apparently in Big Finish that's explained. The Big Finish fixed that because Big Finish, by law, actually can't touch the McGann movie. And that's why Grace Holloway has never been in the Big Finish audios, because by law they can't actually touch her. Which sucks, because I loved Grace. It was pretty dumb that the Doctor made out with her, because that doesn't actually make sense. If you watch that scene, and the Doctor randomly kisses her, there's no, reason for it. And then he kisses her again, and then fireworks go off. It's pretty weird. And then he kisses her for a third time.
That movie did seem like it was aimed more for an American audience.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was sort of the beginning of the way that the Doctor is now, where he is more human in essence.
Yeah.
Like his brain, he's adopted humanity after losing the Time War, basically.
Yeah.
I think the game was like the beginning of that. Is that he's been on Earth too long.
Yeah. You always, it's like in Big Finish. Whenever there's another Time Lord, they're always list you and your humans, all the time.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
good. Like in Engines of War, Carlax, this guy who like thinks the Doctor's a dickhead, is just like, you Inhumans, like at least 4 times in Engines of War.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up, my bro. Like, we get it.
We
You don't
all
like
all
humans.
aware of this.
We all know. If we've watched the show, we know he likes humans. Calm your tits, Carlax. But what uh, what I find interesting is the War Doctor seems to have forgotten that McGann made out with his companions. In Day of the Doctor, he's like, "Does this happen very often?" And I'm just like, "Bro, you were doing it like the whole of your last regen. Grace, Charlie. There's probably a Charlie Keras in there somewhere. You know, there's some fan fiction out there. I'm Keras. I'm a lizard man. Okay, Charlie Pollard.
Totally.
Shit. But oh man, I love Charlie the bits. Because you've just started it on season 26B, as they're called in the Garn arc and Big Finish. And they're off to a good one. So you just finished sort of Orion, yeah?
I haven't finished that. I think
Oh,
I'm
okay.
halfway through.
Okay, so you finished Storm Warning.
I'm extremely busy at work, but I've
Yeah.
definitely finished Storm Warning. Yeah.
I know that feel, eh? Yeah. But works where I listen to it as well. But I've tried to find time to listen to it while I'm at home as well. Just like I come home, put on the PlayStation, and then just listen to some Big Finish. I'm going through Colin Baker's last story because they've made an official canon end for Colin Baker, which is good. Which is way better than him getting killed by falling off. I think it was the exocycles, the explanation in like expanded universe, because they just sort of gloss over it. Like Colin's in at the end of the Ultimate Foe, and then Sylvester McCoy dies dressed as Colin Baker, and then comes back to life as Sylvester McCoy without the wig. So that Jonathan Nathan Turner went up, but it wasn't really Jonathan's fault.
They should have just should have said, like, someone should have made a comment somewhere. It's like someone was just like, "Oh, he got fired out of a cannon." What happened to the scarf guy? It's like, "Oh, he got fired out of a cannon."
But yeah, it's just so random that Colin Baker just sort of got swept under the rug, and it's a bit shit because it wasn't really the production team's fault, because like at the time the head of drama really wanted to kill Doctor Who, because he's like, oh, it's real super low budget. And I'm just like, you're the head of drama, give them more money, and then it doesn't look low budget anymore. Well done. Well, clear the boy.
What do you do?
I was just like, oh my actual, you're in charge of the budget. You're the reason it looks low budget. Fix it.
Yeah.
But it's just so.
Because everyone knows now you can't kill Doctor Who.
Yeah, you can't kill Doctor Who, and like, because when it went off air in '89, it was like looked after by the fans real hardcore. There was this company called Real Time, and they did tons of Doctor Who spin-offs, and some of them are now becoming official canon by BBC. One of the recent one is, I can't remember what the hell it's called, but it's got Sarah Jane Smith and the Brigadier in it.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, and that's becoming canon. So they'll be officially available on DVD by 2 Entertain. The official canon, which is good. Canon. Because the good thing is for Doctor Who, canon's becoming easier and easier to follow. But what I do like is TARDIS Wikia, the Doctor Who wiki, actually treats every bit of Doctor Who material as canon.
Yeah, they do.
And I was just like, that's amazing. And what I love is they even come up with a timeline for where it would fit in.
Yeah. And they
like,
stipulate all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
And I'm just like, how can you guys even come up with this? It's amazing. They make it work as proper canon. But like, if you look at the first Doctor especially, you can't really make his 2 other grandchildren canon. In the Doctor Who,
two other grandchildren?
In the Doctor Who comics, he had 2 other grandchildren that studied at the Time Academy. And this was in the annuals. One was called Gillian, and I think the other one was John and Gillian, I think are their names. I definitely, the girl is called Gillian, but I can't remember the boy's name. I think it's John. Can't be certain. We've got the power of the internet. Let's have a look. Power of the internet. John and Gillian, Doctor Who. So
Internet.
so it's John and so it is John and Gillian. So anyway, they were made the Doctor's grandchildren. And the way TARDIS Wikia says is, on one account, the first Doctor had two grandchildren. And I was just like, well done, treating it as if it's a story being told by someone else, which I really liked. The non-canon stuff treated as a story that somebody made up about the Doctor. What's real interesting is they sort of just disappear. The Doctor leaves them at this training facility, which is later retconned to be a Gallifreyan academy. Because obviously Gallifrey and the concept of Time Lords didn't exist in Hartnell's era.
Yes, of course.
And then in the 8th Doctor comics, they're brought back.
Oh yeah.
And they're but the thing is that it's implied it's a dream he had on Christmas Day.
Of course.
Because he wakes up.
Doctor on Christmas.
Yeah, because the 8th Doctor in the beginning is reading this book, and he's drawn in like real good, like really really good hand drawn sort of close ups of him, and he goes to sleep, and then it shows the 8th Doctor drawn as if he was in the 60s comics, and he's traveling around with John and Gillian. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then in the beginning, he wakes up drawn as proper like modern, I suppose, comic book style. And it's Christmas Day, and I'm just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, you don't know if it was or if it wasn't an actual adventure he had with his grandkids, and he's just flashbacking to them. That's real interesting, and they tried to sort of semi-canon them. There's a really good series on YouTube about the Doctor Who comics, and they go into it in depth. And there's a Kiwi Whovian, so just like us. He's like the entrepreneur of Doctor Who. It's crazy how much this man knows about Doctor Who. He goes, he does the convention brackets here. His name is Paul Scoons.
Oh, right.
So their whole playlist. But yeah, they go into detail into the continuity of the comics. But they do treat it as a separate universe, like a separate Whoniverse.
Well, that does make sense.
Yeah, yeah. And that, I think that's similar to what TARDIS Wiki is getting at, is that all the non-canon stuff is separate Doctor Who universes. Because in the Big Finish audio series Gallifrey, there's a season where there's an alternate Gallifrey, and the Doctor was actually he never left. And in his 6th incarnation, he's just this angry man, much like the 6th Doctor in the real universe. But he's super duper angry, and he's called the Burner.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't regenerate for ages. He lives to be like hundreds and hundreds of years older than the 6th Doctor. Him and his brother Irving Braxiatel, they just start and like just prosecute, because the 6th Doctor works for the Celestial Intervention Agency. And he just goes around prosecuting dudes, and he's real ruthless about it. And they rename him the Burner.
Wow.
He's like mind probing. Oh
no, not the
mind probe. The Castellan, what a poor bastard. Not the mind probe. Why did you do that? He tried to escape. Wait, we've got guns that stop regenerations? Yes.
What? Why do we have those?
I don't know. Bro,
we're going to have some sort of lethal weaponry, sure.
Yeah, sure thing. And that just reminds me of when he finds out, the 5th Doctor finds out Barussa's behind the 5 Doctors mystery, and he's like, and Barussa's like, I'm wearing the coronet of Rassilon. And the 5th Doctor's just like, well, ain't that fetching, bitch?
They don't know, man. They're just like, oh yeah, that's cool, bro. Yep.
Yeah, well, cool, mean, bro.
Oh, you're gonna get immortality. Okay, cool. We're just gonna back away. We don't want any of that stuff.
We're just gonna chill out.
Boom, you're stoned now.
Oh, by the way, you're a statue now. Oh yeah, I really hope in Engines of War are going to get turned into a paradox. You can get turned into a paradox, my bro. Oh.
No.
Not
the mind.
Not the mind, bro. I want T-shirts and it's just a Castellan's face. He's just like,
not the mind.
This is not the mind. So funny. reckon that would sell like hotcakes, man. That'd be so good. Not the mind probe. That should become a thing, eh? Like somebody like 10-hour loops that. Not the mind probe. Dong, 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 dong. Not the mind probe. Dong, 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 dong. I'd watch that for 10 hours. Dong, dong.
Yeah. Yeah. And it needs to have the 12th got the Doctor's guitar solo in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Not the mind probe.
Oh,
And then like have like intermix it with like Hartnell guy. Yes, what is it? What do you want? Not the mind, bro. There are some things at the corners of the universe that must be not the mind, bro. Well, it's like just mix like random quotes and then just have them all end with not the mind, bro. Oh,
Yes.
Sarah Jane, not the mind, bro. Danger, mistress.
Too much.
Not the mind, bro. Have all like old school. Oh, dude, did you hear that K9's getting a movie?
Yes. Yes, I saw.
What? And it's gonna be canon, bro. What?
It's gonna fit Omega.
What? Like everybody was like, Omega's coming back. Omega's coming back. He is coming back.
He's coming back, but he's gonna fight Kane now.
He's gonna fight K9 because the K9 television series actually takes place 20 years before the Daleks invade. When
Oh yeah.
during the first Doctor's
Oh
run.
right.
Which is really cool. I thought that was a real cool thing to do, like make it like just before the Earth's fucked. So I'm wondering if the movie, because they're using the TV show's version of K9, I'm wondering if the movie is going to be like a continuation of that, and maybe lead into Invasion.
Well, he kind of looks from the screenshots that I saw of it. It looked like he was getting an upgrade. Yes,
Right.
maybe.
He's going to look
He
even
looked like
better than he did in the show.
Yeah, he looks like he's like Chrome now.
Oh, right. That's real interesting. K9. It's called the Timequake, eh?
Yeah.
I really hope that like just I want it to that Omega's just rage quitting like he always does.
He's getting so pissed off.
Yeah, I love how he just gets angry at everything. He's just like,
K9 just shows up and is like,
and then,
sorry, Omega, I have come, I have come to destroy you.
sorry, Omega, I have come to destroy you. Oh, dude, that reminds me of
K9, you're gonna ruin everything. Affirmative.
Affirmative. I can't remember what season it is, and I think it's The Key to Time, where they just replaced John Leeson as K9. They just cashed like it just real awkward. Like one season K9's John Leeson, and then the next he's not, and it was real dumb because like no sort of like aggression towards the man who took over from him because obviously he had to fill the void that John Leeson left. But it's so awkward because like that's just not how K9 sounds. And then like and then the very next season he's like, I sound like I did the season beforehand, Master. And for every consequence serial spin-off ever.
Did they explain that in any way? Did they have them?
I think they're different
Doctor
marks.
playing with voice circuits or something. Oh right. Oh right. Yeah.
I think they're different marks of K9. And Mark 2, the not John Leeson one. Apparently, the K9 that's in the TV show and is going to be in the movie is actually the one who was left with Leela, which means that K9 actually escaped the Time War.
Well,
because the mark that's with Sarah Jane Smith, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is Mark 4.
I think it was. Yes.
It's real awkward how that's explained though, because how she gets it is actually in the first ever Doctor Who spin-off, on televised Doctor Who spin-off rather, because the first ever would be the comics, but the first ever televised spin-off is K9 and Company. And then it's just like, your friend left this for you.
Oh, right.
It's just like, oh yeah.
Well, then, like, he, after he gets destroyed in that, in the thing, he blows those guys up. She gets given a new one, doesn't she?
Yeah, so she gets like, oh, so that would be the Mark IV. Which means
Was
the one that
that
dies would be Mark III, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, it was the Mark III, and then in the final scene of school reunion,
There's the Mark IV.
the Doctor gives her the Mark IV. Yeah, that's how that goes. Yeah.
Whoa, time quake. I wonder what it's going to be about. Because I mean, Omega's coming back, so and it's the K9 after the war by the looks of things. I just think it's real cool that like it's a spin-off series, and then K9 Mark I escapes the Time War. And what I love is that K9 goes, "I don't have any memories of anything before I arrived here on Earth," and I'm just like, and it's real interesting because I'm wondering if it could be to do with a time lock that he has no memories of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That it wipes out of his technology, or even that how the way he escaped was via another Time Lord that was letting him go,
Yeah,
and they wiped his memory to make sure that nobody knew.
maybe.
Spooky.
What if it was Hertz Doctor?
Dun dun dun.
Because
We're
I'm
considering all of them. Apparently, all of them were there, so it could have been any single one of them.
yeah, but they're only there for the last. Oh man, see the thing is okay. So let's try and work out the timeline for the war in regards
Let's not do that.
to the TV show
we're
and
not
Big
supposed
Finish.
to. We're not supposed to go into this. Remember, it'll take us forever.
No,
We
no,
agreed.
we won't fry the 50th in this episode because that's our promise. We can't fry the 50th because we'll be
That's
here
gonna be a.
forever.
That's gonna
So
be
the
like a
time war,
24-hour live stream.
the time war, so devoid of the 50th. Okay, so we'll treat the
Yep.
50th as right at the
Okay.
end.
Yep.
So
All right.
war breaks out. 8 saves people, and then gets turned into Hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So Hurt fights the war,
Mm-hmm.
does engines of war, and then actually blows up Gallifrey. And before he blows up Gallifrey, the Time Lords escape, and Ten and the Master send them back, with the Master coming back with Gallifrey
Okay.
because of end of time. So they escape, they phase into our universe, because remember the lady says he's still got the moment and he might use it. And he's all like, I've got that glove that deatomizes people. And then Gallifrey tries to escape because he talks to the High Council. So they phase out. Ten and the Master send them back. Master comes back with the Gallifrey, and then the Doctor, John Hurt's Doctor, blows up Gallifrey. Actually blows it up, and then becomes Christopher Eccleston. Lives out his lives, and then 11 and 10 go back using the moment and stop it from blowing up. So originally it was destroyed. And then, because they changed their history, because 10 and 11 even say that. They're actually going to change fact, because they
But
did
they
blow
actually
it up.
changed the time.
Because
Right.
they actually did blow it up originally. And so they come back and they're like, hey, Hurt, I need you to not do that. And the moments were like, that's why I brought your future incarnations here, so that this time you don't blow it up. And then they change history, and then they make it so that all of the Doctors turn up to save Gallifrey.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Daleks are destroyed in the crossfire, which still makes no sense, by the way.
That really doesn't.
And then that's it. Because the thing is even because the moment should have went off, because even the Emperor Dalek is like, bro, I actually survived the moment going off, basically. He doesn't say the moment, obviously, but he's like, I survived the end of the war, which means there actually was a huge galaxy eater that went off.
Well, that's really it. I mean, that's what we assumed the whole time.
Yeah.
But if we're going with the idea that the 11 and 10 went back in time the whole time, then the reason why the Emperor survived was simply because he wasn't shot when the Daleks in the Crossfire.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Like,
So
that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah, I've always seen it that Hurt did it. Hurt actually did it. And then
No,
10 and
I don't
11 and 10 went back and stopped him from actually doing it.
I don't think that is the case. I think the reason why there are so many Daleks left over from the Time War is simply because they ballsed it up when they went back in time
Well,
and did this.
the Daleks surviving the Time War, in those instances are actually explained by Russell T Davies, because the Emperor escapes and then turns Earth into the new Skaro and starts harvesting people via television.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's just the Emperor. But I mean, there was the first Dalek that came back after the war, the one first one that Nine faced.
Yeah,
That
but
he was
kept it.
like, yeah, that he gapped out of it and then crash landed on Earth, and then and then the Doctor's like yelling at him, saying that he's the last one as well.
Yeah. I'm the
Makes
last
him
one.
half human. Yeah.
Except for the Master and possibly the Rani. And considering that last couple of episodes ago of Doctor Who Series 9, probably the War Chief as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And then all of these Daleks.
and then
the cult of
there's the Cult of Skaro.
Yeah.
And then series 3 is also the Cult of Skaro.
Mm-hmm.
And then series 4 is because the last of the Cult of Skaro went back into the war and was like, hey, by the way, this is all time locked and I'm crazy.
Yeah, well, that's yeah, come with me if you want to live, tentacles.
Those tentacles of Devil's Space. Please stop doing that. I need to save you, Master.
I need to save you, Master.
Please stop rubbing my face with your tendrils. It is awkward.
Well, this is it. I think the reason why Khan actually went crazy when he went back in time is not because the moment or anything went off, causing some temporal distortion. I think it's simply because there was 12 doctors around that time.
Well, not only that, because this is the beginning of the war, so it's 400 years before Hurt sets off the moment. Because Davros falls into the more of the Nightmare Child in the first year of the war, and
but the idea
apparently tried to stop that.
Yes, but I mean, like the idea is that. I mean, the idea is that he was going into set events.
Yeah.
That's what drove him crazy. And I think the reason why they were set is simply because the Doctor pulled 12 of himself out of time to do that.
But the thing is also the Time Lords locked the war as well. They like put up like essentially a time file.
That they had to do that.
Yeah. They were just like, we are doing crazy shit. Hey, Rassilon, remember when you were a real cool dude? Yeah, I know. Then I regenerated into this guy. Yeah. By the way, I've got unlimited regenerations and can't be killed. Just so you know.
Mm-hmm. I am the true immortal. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no downside to my immortality. I even get to become Bond every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He just chooses to be James Bond, like just cash. And my favorite Bond.
Okay. We need if Rassilon ever comes back, it needs to be Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, yeah. Or Pierce Brosnan even.
Maybe Pierce Brosnan. That would actually.
Brosnan name. Just cash.
Just casually Rassilon as every Bond.
I am wondering why they've stopped doing the animations for the BBC reconstructions. Because apparently the Underwater Menace, the 2 surviving episodes are being remastered, and they're just going to use the fan reconstructions with the pictures for the other 2 missing episodes.
Okay.
And I was just like, you've got an entire animation studio. You actually stopped someone from making a Doctor Who anime and then hired them to make the animation side. So I just don't get it. Why hire Paul Auterking, get him to do a couple of stories remastered with animation, and then just get rid of him? I can't understand that. They should be animating them.
It's the BBC.
No, I know,
Why do
because
they do
like,
anything?
there's Doctor Who's never going to find. Just
Why
animate.
do they? Why do they do anything?
Oh, yeah, tell me.
Why do they do anything?
Like, why did they put Doctor Who up against the Rugby World Cup this year? That was so stupid.
That was a very poor decision. Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, why is it getting such bad ratings? It's because your competitor, ITV, has the King Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, all of our viewers
you're
are on ITV. They should have done like a Friday release.
You put one of your most internationally popular shows against the most international popular show.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
international sport.
just like,
what do you?
and it's not like it's one match. It's a 2-month-long tournament. Oh, what if we put most of this season up against the Rugby World Cup? I bet you anything there was
Are you tracking when people record it? Then if you're tracking when people record it, then you can keep that. But if you're not tracking when people record it, you're out of luck.
Yeah. Oh, that's so weird that they're not taking into account BBC iPlayer views. Like, we live in 2015, man, not 2005. Like, take in the BBC iPlayer views, because that's how I watch it, is on BBC iPlayer. So I thought, because that's legal, and I thought it would give them ratings, keep my show going, but it doesn't.
I guess it just doesn't.
They really
maybe they do track it, but maybe it's up against a different thing. Like they don't tell people about those ones,
right?
Because I mean they have strict views strict guidelines for all their ratings and viewings that have to be done on television, especially when it comes to like how much they're paying for broadcasting these shows. So if they got enough revenue out of broadcasting them on internet instead, then they may just switch over to having a internet channel.
Yeah,
which would be an amazing thing. And BBC, you should goddamn do it.
Yeah, BBC should do that, because I mean, that's why
Just have a
Netflix
web
does so
streaming
well.
service.
Is because Netflix,
Yeah.
their viewership is treated as ratings.
Exactly. So
And it's not.
I mean, they get money. They get money straight off the bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they get money every month for that, so they don't care.
I reckon
they don't have to do any
if
ads or
BBC did what Netflix is doing and made a digital platform and made a subscription fee, because I know the BBC is actually a paid for license, which New Zealand used to have, by the way. New Zealand used to do that. I remember my mum paying for it, actually, for the TV license. It's one of my earliest memories is this guy who used to come around every year and he'd be like, "Hello there, I'm here to collect your TV license." Having a license for TV, that's so random. But yeah, and so I just think digital is the way to go. That's why I feel Sky TV will die very soon. It'll be dead as the dodos, which is so funny because they made New Zealand's government pass that law to stop internet TV from being big.
Yeah.
What idiots! So.
Well, the thing is, like, they didn't even stop. They didn't even stop Netflix from coming in.
Yeah,
so,
but they severely limited what Netflix was allowed to show New Zealand audiences. But once Sky dies, that's it. It's
once
done.
Sky dies, Netflix it's back.
Yeah, it's back. It's done.
All we need is
you don't exist.
We need Doctor Who. We need Doctor Who to go onto Netflix and
Doctor
BBC
Who is on
BBC
Netflix.
to do. It is on Netflix.
Yeah, but
not like the new stuff.
Yeah. It's I think it's 3 months behind. I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So I think you're right. If BBC opened up a digital platform and offered a subscription, I think they'd really save Doctor Who at the moment, because they are struggling.
And it means that they could do more with it. They don't have to do week by week stuff.
Yeah.
They could do big length stories or anything that they wanted. Really, they're not bound by a slot anymore, which is a reason that a lot of BBC shows sort of have a bit of trouble with stuff, is because they have this strict slot that they have to fit into, because they've got so many shows and so little broadcasting time.
Yeah, no, that is so bloody true. And I feel it'd be interesting to have them longer, because if you look at the first season of Doctor Who, and I'm about to just bring that up right now off my cloud here. Oh, that's weird. I can't click to my cloud. What the hell? Why can't I connect to my cloud? That's weird. Anyways, we'll just go to TARDIS Wiki here, actually. They're featuring quite heavily in this episode. They are not paying for Whoscussion. Just throwing that out.
They're going to be in the description as well.
they will most definitely be in the description as well. So let's just look at season 1 here, because I remember it was bloody lengthy. But in saying that, each episode was only 22 minutes. So.
But there were stories though. There were 4 episode longs at least. Like they.
Yeah, at least
6. Yeah.
I love how that's so true. That the least amount was 4. Like.
Yeah, at least they were like. So that would have been what 80 minutes every time. That's like a decent movie, you know. That's an animated movie length show. Yeah. That's quite amazing for the way that we go now. I mean, sure, a lot of people don't have the time for that nowadays. That's why they like to sit down and watch just a 40-minute show. Yeah. But I mean, if you were putting them in 20-minute bite-sized pieces of a long period of time, again, because I've already done that, if they did that again, but on a digital spectrum, then a lot more people would watch this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's so true. So I'm just looking at season 1 now. So Unearthly Child was 4. The Daleks was 7. What the hell? Oh, okay. So
7. That is a lot.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on, but for some reason I can't. There we go. Yeah, and so the only exception to the rule of the least for season 1 was actually The Edge of Destruction, which is my all-time favorite Doctor Who story, actually. Televised
How long
Doctor
was
Who
that?
story. It was 2 episodes. There's only one thing
it wasn't.
This story, though. Is right at the end, they're like, I know what it was. I broke the fast return switch. What?
You did what?
We all nearly died because I broke this little switch. What?
It's not because you accidentally went outside of the bounds of the universe or anything.
I broke this little switch. That's what happened.
But I broke this little switch.
The thing is, though, is like as silly as that is, it makes sense because if you look at the first Doctor, he literally was winging it.
Yeah, he was.
He was literally winging it. It's not until the third Doctor comes along that's thrown out the door, because the third Doctor is given the TARDIS instruction manual by the Time Lords and the 3 Doctors. And so we've got 4, 7, 2, Marco Polo 7, the Keys of Marinus 6, the Aztecs 4, the Sensorites 6. I love the Sensorites, by the way. I can love that story. And the Reign of Terror is also 6. Yeah, so it's a bloody long season.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think if they brought it back to this format, it could work. There'd be a lot of New Who fans like, I liked it better when it was 40 minutes.
Yeah, but then these people wouldn't have to complain about having to watch it on TV.
Yeah,
they could watch it whenever they want, you know?
Having it as a subscription service would be great. I think you're very right. I think that's something Doctor Who should look at. But at the end of the day, we are just 2 blokes on YouTube. So whatever sway we'll have, who knows?
Hey, maybe we should make our own service.
Yeah, there we go.
Broadcast our own television.
Yeah. Just call it,
and then when we get big enough, we'll just buy BBC and buy Doctor Who and we'll make it ourselves.
Just call it Britain Online, and just partner with channels or an ITV.
Yeah, well, BB Online.
Yeah.
British Broadcasting Online. Makes sense to me.
That makes sense to me. I have to say I agree with you there. Far out. So yeah, I don't know. I just think because BBC, the Doctor Who is struggling so much at the moment. Why in the hell not make it digital? And just treat digital views as normal everyday views.
Definitely. I mean, there are some other struggles that they're having, obviously, when it comes to Doctor Who. I mean, their character development,
tone as well, and
some of the things, but probably not things we should be going into. Right?
The one thing I want them to remove, and this is just the classicist coming out in me, is the comedy. Just get rid of the comedy, man.
It doesn't need to be as what's the word? It needs to be more. You need to really be paying attention to get the humor that it should be there.
Yeah.
Like it should be really in depth, not something that you could be half glancing at the screen and get like just those one-liners. It doesn't need to be that.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that you have to understand what the Doctor is and what he does for you to get the humor that's coming out in it.
Yeah, because
It needs to be more subtle. There's the word, subtle.
if you look at the classic run, especially the first 11 seasons, which are my favourite seasons, the first 11, I feel that's the best Who ever was, and I feel comedy in the first 11 seasons was only ever used to deceive the person before the Doctor ended them.
Yeah,
and especially
yeah. The
in
Doctor was
Troughton's run. Troughton, man. Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, he must be an idiot. Oh, by the way, you just let me onto your mothership. By the way, end. Done. I'm going home now. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Is that the Doctor's humor was always his abilities,
Yeah.
basically. Is that it was we only found it funny because it was great.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't other characters that looked at him like, what are you saying? Like what? And his companions never figured that out either. They never laughed at him.
Yeah, exactly.
But these ones nowadays, they absolutely know that he's just joking around. It's like, no, he's not. The point is that he's not supposed to be joking around. He's supposed to be messing with him.
Especially with Capaldi's Doctor, the Doctor they're trying to bring out is this, like, he's this tyrant, basically, this force of nature, much like the first Doctor, and he is the first Doctor for this set of regenerations as well. So, cut out the funny bullshit, because it doesn't work for Peter. It doesn't. It doesn't work for his Doctor.
If there are some bits where it does work, but only like the really, really subtle ones, where I'm not even sure if they actively wrote that in or not. Where like there are lines that he says where you're just like, why did you what?
Last season, I think the most train wrecky of all the episodes was Robots of Sherwood, and it's because it was an in-joke the whole time. It was Robots of Sherwood was shit.
Honestly, the worst one for me was the forests. That's the actual forest.
God, the forest! I actually deleted that episode from my memory banks, and you've brought it back. You've distorted time and put it back in my head. I can't believe this shit. That episode was terrible. And they were like, oh, if children are suffering from psychosis, you should listen to them. No, you should get them help.
Yeah, you should get them
Doctor,
help.
you're from Gallifrey. None of your previous incarnations would have ever said this. Whoever wrote this episode should go to prison. I find you guilty of writing shit episodes. Life.
Well, I mean, the worst thing about it for me is that they could have fixed it very easily when it really comes down to it. They could have just said, this is the beginning of the evolution for the forest, the humanoid tree people that the
forest
Doctor
team.
meets.
The forest team. Yeah. Oh, that would have been so much better. Can you write Doctor Who, please? Let's hurry up. Leave YouTube. Go to Doctor Who. Done. BBC right now. Hello, Stephen Moffat. Yeah, I'm writing your next season. Bye. Done.
If only it was
that would have been way better, because like that especially the end is, oh man, I'm remembering so much of this piece of shit now. The end when the older sister just magically comes out of the bushes.
Yeah, it's like what is that? What was she?
Was she a bush?
By the trees? Was she a bush? Was she part of the tree people?
I don't get it.
I mean, I suppose it can't. You could really, at a stretch, link it together with Torchwood's fairies that come in at some point.
Oh man, that would have been awesome.
But that would if they'd tried at least to bring that in as well. There were so many.
Because fairies are real in the universe.
Exactly. But they're like devious. Like
they're like
alien,
actual
interdimensional bad things.
Yeah, who live forever.
But like, there were so many good ideas that
they can time travel as
had
well.
before. There were so many good ideas that they had that they could have used.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
I know. It was just so bad, and like how trees. grew to become a shield for humanity.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what? Oh my god.
That doesn't make sense, especially just in science for real. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense. Like
The thing is,
even if trees had a consciousness, I doubt at any point that they could have been able to pull that shit off. And
also, why
we
would they
haven't
protect us?
yeah,
We're
and also
assholes.
why would we have a magnetic field around Earth to protect us from these things?
Yeah.
The trees would have survived
Yeah.
if we didn't.
The thing is
They
also
wouldn't have given a crap.
the TARDIS, and pretty much any Time Lord technology is solar. It uses solar energy because the Time Lords were solar engineers. That was what they did.
Yeah.
They literally invented black holes.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? The Doctor would have just pulled up with a TARDIS and just turned it into Zyton 7. That's all he would have done.
Yeah.
He would have been like, oh,
Yeah.
boom, I just turned this into Zyton 7. Well done.
It's just like a solar thing comes along, solar wind starts blasting at Earth. He just shows up right in the middle of it, just soaks it all up. He's like, sweet, I got energy for the next 100 years. I'm good.
Yeah, and then there's the rift in Cardiff. That even though Torchwood blew up, that point in time and space is still on the planet. He could have just used that to suck up the solar energy. Like it was just such a poorly pieced together piece of Doctor Who history.
Mm.
And I want someone to retcon it on television as well. Not in a comic book,
Yeah.
not in spin-off media, in actual TV to retcon that episode.
Yeah. That the Doctor says to somebody, that never happened. Like someone's like brings out like just a few images of the trees, and then it's like that actually never happened.
Yeah, that never.
But then how do you explain how we survived the solar wind? Oh, I actually sucked it up with my TARDIS.
Like what I thought was really random though is when it turned out that girl's psychosis was just like the trees.
Yeah,
and I was
the
just
trees
like,
have been talking to her like since her sister disappeared.
yeah,
Like, what is that? And then like so then you really kind of think then, so what the trees did is they recognized that the solar wind was going to happen years in advance, kidnapped this girl's sister to use her, I guess, to use her life energy to create these trees massively.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. They don't explain that at
Yeah,
all.
I know.
Why she's
Right?
been
Like,
taken.
what the hell?
And then that forces this girl to become so psychotic that she can hear the trees in their psychosis to eventually save the world. But they don't even end up doing that. Like, the thing is, the trees, like, nothing that the Doctor did throughout that episode affected the trees in any way. Like, the trees just saved the world, and he didn't do anything. Like,
He was just a
what
bystander.
was the point here? Like,
it was just so pointless. Why did he even turn up? It
yeah,
should have been This episode is one of those situations where a past adventure should have been a throwaway line.
Yeah.
And expanded upon in the novels. It should have been they turned up in whatever episode was after that piece of shit and gone, hey, remember the trees on Earth and the solar winds? And then that's it.
Yeah.
Like the throwaway line in the Ninth Doctor's final story when he said they had just left medieval Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's just a throwaway line. If you're gonna have a shitty story, you read the script and you go, bro, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get somebody else to write a different script, and I'm just gonna make your episode a throwaway line. And that happened in Classico. I believe it was Yellow Fever and How to Cure It was a throwaway line. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know that one of the missing stories from Colin's run is actually a throwaway line in one of the classic episodes, but I can't remember what it was. I'll have to find that on our best friend TARDIS Wiki and figure out what's going on. But just before we bring this one to a close, what's something you want to sort of bring to the tangent table? Anything you want to sort of talk about?
No, nothing that wouldn't way bring us over time. So I would like to I suppose I just like to quickly comment on the latest Doctor Who, which I haven't watched yet. I mean, the one before that.
Oh,
the one
right,
before
right.
that.
With the
So
shield,
basically using that to comment on what's going to come up. So yeah, basically my predictions for the next episode of Doctor Who. which is that from the teaser that they did at the end of the first one, as well as just what was going on. I have a feeling that they're trying to set up Arya Stark as an immortal, like John, the captain.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they need to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to aim for here, especially considering like I get it, she's a really strong character, and I'm liking her, but if she's gonna be in more stories as this immortal, it's not really gonna work too well for them.
Yeah.
Like it didn't. The reason why they had to get rid of John was because they knew it wasn't gonna really work for having another immortal around. Just makes like it steals the limelight away from the Doctor. Really.
Yeah.
Especially considering how aggressive she is, and how she obviously would have got extremely intelligent over the amount of years that she's been alive. So she is literally going to boss out the Doctor in so many ways. So he's not going to keep her around.
Yeah. I think another thing I think we'll bring up on the next Whoscussion. So next week, if that's all good.
Yeah.
So the next Whoscussion, I think we definitely need to talk about this hybrid thing. Because if it is what Davros thinks it is, that ruins the continuity of the first Doctor. And we'll touch on that next week in the next Whoscussion there. So thank you everybody for coming to the first ever episode of Whoscussion. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next week. Alrighty, peace.
Bye.